all this because this is how we started. You can remember this architecture. If you remember this, it means that you're following because this is our notes for day one when we started the program. You see how far we've come, right? All about cloud computing. I went to the Telegram, I was reading what someone posted. I think I can't remember his name, Abdul Rahman or Abdul something like that, Abdul something. And just then I realized that I was literally touching everything as much as possible just to make sure that you all become skillful enough, right, to get at least an entry-level job with the little skills we're going to cover in this program. So in the process of it, we touched security, we touched on DevOps stuff, and so on and so forth. You understand? So I was just going on and on and on. You understand? So these were all the things we've been able to cover to dive deeper. Do you understand? We've moved on, we've touched several services. In today's class, right, we want to learn something that is very, very important. Friends, this is going to be very practical. So I want to encourage you all to please respond to me as much as possible, okay? And as much as you know. May I ask everybody that is currently watching the session to try and open Google from their end, www.google.com, and hit enter. So if you are able to do this right now from where you are, can you confirm to me how many seconds did it take to display the page? How many seconds did it take to display this page? When you type www.google.com and you hit enter, how many seconds did it take to display? Do you think is it less than 1 second, more than 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or 1 minute? Just on your comment section. It's deliberate. Less than a second, okay? Any other person? It's deliberate. I have a reason for asking these questions. Okay, less than a second. Okay, good. Okay, so I want to believe that everybody on this call that tested it. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I'm grateful. So I want to believe that when you tested this, you saw the speed, right? It responded to you. So my next question to you is this. Have you ever visited a web page and then when you try to type it, or maybe YouTube, for instance, you try to do something like youtube.com and you hit enter, did you notice what's happening to this page? Did you notice what's happening? It's loading, right? Did you notice that the response time is delaying? Do you understand? Now, a lot of factors come into play, right? Now, one of them could be my internet. Now, but sometimes you can see this kind of things. It shows you that it's lagging. Is that true? Good. Now, but one thing I want you all to notice is this. Sometimes when you visit some web pages, right, it loads very fast. Sometimes other ones loads and it takes time. Okay. Now, friends, the third scenario I want to paint in your mind, please, let's get this description. The third scenario is this. Have you ever tried to visit a website and it looks like it's not showing the current information? And when you discuss to the people, they tell you no. And maybe they do something at the back end, and then suddenly you can see the most recent information. It's updated. Does anybody have that same kind of experience? Anybody? Maybe you visited a website, but it's not showing you the current information. Maybe somebody updated something, and within the time the person updated it, it's not yet reflecting on the page, on the server page for you to see it. It's still showing you the old information. Now, but even if you've not experienced it, right, I want you to know that there is such a possibility. I'll say it again. There is such what? A possibility. Friends, I want you to understand these analogies I'm going to draw right now, okay? Now, let's assume that this is a server, okay? This is a server where you host your application, okay? So I'm going to come here and say this is a server. And in this server, we have different kinds of things running here. Maybe you have your website running here. Okay. Now, your beautiful resume or your beautiful static website or your dynamic Python application running on this server. Your customers, users wants to access this server, right? Now, customers are going to be in different location. So let's come here and just quickly say, and let's say user click. I'll click on this and click on image, and let's use something. Okay, let's copy this, copy image, click here, paste this. Okay, let's click this, let's click this, Control D, Control D. So we have this, we have this, and we have one more person. I'll right click this, copy image, come here, and let's see. Now these are the users. Okay, friends, I want you to understand something. This is deliberate. Okay, I'm going to keep this here. I'm going to keep this 2 here. Okay, now the goal is that these users should be able to access this server, right? That's the goal of this implementation. As a cloud engineer, you want to be able to ensure that users from different locations will be able to access the server. Okay, I hope you all understand what I'm doing now. Oh, sorry. Undo, Control D. I wanted to just do the same thing for this person. Okay, good. So the goal is that, okay, I'll join later. Now, the goal is that these users will be able to access this server, right? Now, friends, I want you to think as a cloud engineer, okay? Think as a cloud engineer. You know, sometimes in the real world, okay? In the real world, imagine that you created a resume on and uploaded it on S3, or you created your gaming application, you uploaded it on S3, and then you posted on LinkedIn asking people to come and see, oh, you have done something powerful. You are excited. You want them to see what you have done. Okay, you uploaded a static website, your resume there, and you want people to come and see it. You know, when you share the URL, right, or the domain name, or from what we learned in the last class, FQDN, right? Fully qualified domain name. If you remember what we did in the last class, this Route 53, if you click here, you see the domain I bought in the last class. Let me show you quickly. I'm still going to touch this, but okay. Please stay fast. Okay, good. Thank you. So this is what we bought in the last class. Can you all remember this? If you joined the last class, you notice that I bought a domain using AWS Route 53. I bought this domain, cloudsecurity.demosite.co.uk. Okay, this is what I bought. Now, so this, if you put the www dots and put this, so that's what we call a fully qualified domain name. All right, I hope that makes sense. Good. So you are going to provide that full qualified domain name, which people call web address. Okay, you're going to provide it to this customer, to these customers, and they will be able to access the data on this server. Is that true? Now, this is where it gets interesting, friends. Do you know that these customers, right, can be in different region, in different location? So let's do this. So let's assume that this customer is in the US, okay? And let's assume that this customer is Asia. And let's assume that this customer is from Africa. Africa. Now, remember, you are the cloud engineer. When you are building your solution, okay, you are thinking about efficiency. You are thinking about security. You are thinking about quality delivery. Pardon all these technical terminologies, okay? But I'm trying to make you think in a certain way. It is not just hosting something on S3 or EC2 or an API of the API gateway, okay? So it's not just hosting something somewhere and sharing it to anybody. Please, I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? So please, friends, don't forget that I said with my analogy that in this case, you are hosting your S3 website or your resume, right? And you shared it to on LinkedIn and people from different regions clicked on it to check it. Do you understand? Now, friends, I want you to understand that as a cloud engineer, there are a lot of things we consider. There are a lot of things we consider. We consider a lot of things. I'm going to write down the several factors you should consider. Okay. One of them is what we call cost. One of them is what we call distance, which some people call speed. Okay. Most important of all is what we call regulation, or compliance. I'll quickly explain this one so that it doesn't fly. We don't get confused. You see this regulation here. So I want to ask you a question. Can you imagine that as a cloud engineer, you're working for a company, right? And that company doesn't want people in Pakistan. Okay, forgive me. I don't want to mention country names. Okay, okay. Do I say Nigeria or Pakistan? Because I don't know. I don't want anybody from that region to think I don't want to serve data to them. But let's just assume that you don't want somebody in Nigeria, right? I know Nigerians are very, very jovial people, so they won't get angry. So you don't want people in Nigeria to be able to see the content, right? So you want the users to be, so there's what we call airing of data, airing of data. For instance, Netflix, like we discussed in the previous class, right? So if this is Netflix, okay, if this is a Netflix server and they have movies here, right? They do not want, for USA, they want their data to remain in the US, okay? They don't want their data to be transferred to other regions. Do you understand? So this is where their original server is. So ideally, if you type www.netflix.com, it will come here and pull the data. Of course, you know it's not coming here directly. If you remember what we did in the last class, you know that it will have to do the whole DNS stuff, right? But this is assuming that Route 53 has taken care of everything, so it knows to go to this place. You understand? So when it comes here, right? Now it will fetch the information and display the information. Please, do you understand? The same thing with Asia, the same thing with Africa. But what I am saying to you is this. You can do what we call geographical restriction. There are a lot of things we can do. Okay. Companies can, organizations can choose to say that we don't want people, we want to relegate data for different regions. We call it regulations or compliance. You understand? Data that is for USA remains in USA. Data that is for Asia remains in Asia. Data that is for Africa remains in Africa. You may be wondering, what do I mean? Should be okay, why am I using the word shibi? That's pigeon. But okay, just pay attention. I don't know why I feel this way, but guys, this is Africa, right? So this is the client, right? Now, this client here, right, is trying to visit Netflix, right? You know, this client is going to provide his username and password. Is that true? So this client is from Africa. What if we say we what if Nigerian government, the new Nigerian government says that all data from Nigeria should remain in Nigeria. So if Netflix wants our data to travel to their location, they will have to pay taxes. Do you understand what I hope you understand this illustration. So the same thing with USA. USA say if their users, for all the millions of users that they have, right, that signs up to Netflix, so that information, right, it must not escape this region. it must not escape the US. Okay, it must stay in the US region. You understand? So nobody will be able, so every region has their own form of data. Now, this is made possible. So what Netflix does to solve that problem is that Netflix will now go and say, okay, you know what, just so that I can help all of you, right? So that all of you don't have to be coming here. And the fact that all of you are trying to access me is going to slow down. Imagine if we have people from other regions. You know, the more these regions increase, the more they will be impacting on this server. And then it's going to be increasing the latency, right? And then it will be slow to display the page. So what Netflix will now do is that Netflix is going to say, I know what to do. Netflix is going to say, okay, I'm going to create a server, okay, close to your region, okay? I'm going to create a server close to your region, okay? And create another one close to this region, and then create another one. Sorry, okay. Undo. Okay, yes, close to this region. So you don't need to, Africa guys doesn't need to go directly to this guy. What they need to do is just to go directly to this server. Do you understand? So this one too will go directly to this server. The same thing with this one. It will go directly to this. This guy will go directly to this. This is how the connection works. Then behind the scene, these servers will now be connecting to this. Okay, this will be connected to this like this, and this will be connected to this. So the Netflix decides that in the US region, okay, just like on AWS, in the US region, maybe not Virginia, okay, they will create another server, okay, they'll create another copy, okay, it's like saying creating a local copy, okay, replicate it, okay, a region close to USA, so USA people should connect to this one, okay, so you know, because this is now closer to USA, it's going to be faster, right? So it's the distance between USA and this server has now reduced because there is a server closer to them. I hope this makes sense to everybody. The same thing with these Asia guys. Okay, they have a server closer to them. The same thing with these Africa guys. They have a server closer to them. You understand? So this architecture, this kind of thing you see here is what we call content delivery network. I'll say it again, content delivery network. Let me ask you a question before I go to the comment section to get your feedbacks. Friends, please, how many of you have ever noticed that if okay, let me just ask generally, how many of you uses Netflix? You've ever used Netflix to watch movie? Please just type yes. Now it's not compulsory, but I want to use that as an example just to make sense. You've ever used Netflix to watch movie? Just type yes. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, friends. So at least we have 3 persons that confirms that they've used Netflix to watch movie. Even if you've not used Netflix to watch movie, right? Or you don't know what Netflix is, in case this is your first time, let me be the first person to introduce you to something called Netflix. No, but I hope it doesn't distract you. It's just a subscription-based platform where you can watch movie. You understand? So you can watch free, not free per se, but when you subscribe, you can be watching movies there. Okay. So if you know you love your, okay, now let me not be superstitious, right? But just know that they go there to watch movies. Okay. So it's a very, very popular movie platform. Okay. It's beyond movie these days because they do so many things. Okay. So it's known in the world, very, very popular. Okay. Now, but there's something that happens. There's something that is very unique, right? Do you know that I personally have experienced it? No matter how low your network is, your data is, no matter how poor your data is, right? You will still be able to watch movies sometimes on Netflix. For those of you that have watched this, have you experienced it? Can you just type yes if you understand what I'm saying? Have you ever experienced that? Maybe your network is poor or you even have low data, but you're still able to watch movie on Netflix. Can anybody relate? Anybody on the comment section? Or is it just me? Okay, it seems I'm just the only person that has experienced it. So, but Netflix is so powerful. That was what I was actually reading here. So this document that I have here, even if you're watching it on your phone, right? Even if you're watching it on your phone, right? The way Netflix works these days, right? Okay, I think somebody agreed. You will notice that with the help of a lot of technologies right now, Netflix can stream regardless of how poor. In fact, it's very, very, very fast. You understand? So let me even share this to anybody that is interested so that you will know that Netflix is using content delivery network, CDN, alongside other things. Okay, let me just share that article in case I hope it's going to make sense to any one of you. Okay, now, so that I don't lose you or get you confused, right? So this server could be YouTube. This server could be Netflix. Do you see that? So, do you know that if this is YouTube or Netflix, right, and it's a movie you are watching, some of you agree with me that sometimes you're watching a video on YouTube, it could be buffering. Do you know what buffering is? It's as if it's lagging. Okay, it's lagging. It will just be spinning. After a while, it will pick up, and then you'll be able to watch the video. Sometimes, especially if you're watching news in real time, live or a live match, you see it. It will be buffering. After a while, it will pick up. Do you understand? Now, do you know that the way it works is if the server where those people let's say Netflix or YouTube or maybe for football guys, I don't even know the popular ESPN.com, I don't know, but let's assume that this is the server, right, where people are watching football from. Okay, the server that is hosting and streaming the live football, is it goal.com? Just whichever platform, right, that is streaming the live match, right? Do you know that if those companies, if you are a cloud engineer working in that company, right, and you are considering your users, you want to give them the best experience, superb experience, right? You need to consider a lot of things, right? So you will need to, if you just create a simple server, right? And then tell the users to connect to it, it could be slow because of the distance to the server. Okay? Because of the distance between you, the client, and the server, distance will be impacted, latency will be high. Therefore, speed is going to be reducing. In other words, when you try to display a page, it's going to take time to load. But did you notice that Google, when we tried to open Google, it displayed very, very fast. Very, very fast. Why? Because big companies like Google, Facebook, Netflix, YouTube, they set up something we call local servers, okay, which is also called cache memory or cache servers, okay, or CDN locations, okay. So this they set up something like this. If this is original Google server, right, they will set up something very close to your region, something very close to you, so that instead of you traveling from here to their server, your computer will be able to detect the closest server to you. You see that? The closest server to you. If you remember what we did in the last class, when I used traceroute or traceat on Windows, and you put a domain name and you use traceat, it's going to show you how many hop. In other words, how many routers it's going to move from one computer from one router to another router before it gets to the main server. Does this make sense? If it makes sense, please type yes on the comment section just to be sure you all understand what I'm saying so far. Please just type yes if you understand. Else, I will repeat again and try to make it simple enough. Yes. Good. Okay, good. I'm trying my best to use simple analogies. Okay. So when I use the word local server, it's not really the right word, right? It's not really the right word. I shouldn't say local server. Okay. It's what we can call edge location. Okay. or in AWS terminology, they call it point of presence or edge location. Okay? Point of presence or edge location. You understand? So, but they just set up something that is a smaller server, right? Apart from the main one that is close to the customer's region. Okay? They will just create something very, very close to you. So that instead of you traveling to go this distance to go and get the data, you can go to something closer. Do you know what Netflix did? Netflix, instead of saying you should even travel, Netflix decided to create a server on your ISP. If you read that document I shared with you, you'll notice that Netflix used something they call Open Connect, and then with integration with the ISP providers, they are able to set up a server, a kind of a cache server, a CDN server, such that you don't is now the ISP that will be providing the data to you. Again, I don't want to throw in so many things so that I don't lose you. But let me show you something in real time. If I come and say Google CDN and I hit enter and I click on images, let's see. Okay, let me see if I can find something that depicts. Okay. Okay. This is something similar, but okay. Now, but ideally is just the same thing, right? So this is the host server, and this can be users, right? So if a user is typing www.google.com, instead of going to the host server, instead of your computer going to the host server to go and get the information, of course, with the help of Route 53 and the rest, right? Instead of going to this place to get the information, right? This computer, so this Google host server, they decided to set up CDN edge locations. So they set up small servers in different regions close to customers. Do you understand? So in terms of AWS, they set up data centers in different regions. Okay, point of presence and data centers. They set something closer to customers. So instead of the customers going to this, they would just connect to the closest one, and then they'll be able to get the information very, very fast. This is what makes this is one of the features that cloud computing is bringing. Do you understand? So you can go global in minutes. It's highly available, low latency. Do you understand? So as a cloud engineer, you need to consider all these concepts. Remember that I said to you that you're considering costs. Why? Because you on your own do not have the money. For instance, if you are working for a company and this is you set up the server, right? Now, let me put a quick disclaimer. This CDN that we are talking about is not for every website. It's not for every web application. Do you understand? Not every web application should have a CDN. It's only used for companies that serve that has huge audience or huge customer base. Okay, huge traffic. Do you understand? Huge traffic. That's the reason. So that if for any reason one server is down, they can still be able to connect to the closest server. That's the idea behind this CDN, content delivery network. Okay, it's just littering different servers across different regions close to the customers. If one is down, the data will be here. If this one is down, the data will be here. If this one is down, the data will be here. Do you see that? So it's not for any small kind of web application. So you don't design something tomorrow and then you say you want to put it in CloudFront. You don't suggest that for a customer, except you know that they have huge traffic. Do you understand? So it's not just huge traffic. There are so many reasons. Okay. Cost, distance, you understand? Regulation, which is compliance, especially if the company you want to work for, or the clients, the customer you want to work for, say they want you to set up something like a compliance, a regulation, such that data does not leave your region, then CDN can come in. I hope this makes sense. So cost, distance, regulation, other factors like security, you understand? security. There are other factors like updates. I'm going to explain them. Then compression. I think yeah, compression of objects. But let me just stop at this. Okay, so these are more features that CDN provides. Okay, it helps to reduce the cost because a normal person cannot afford all these servers. Okay, not every company can afford all these servers. Okay, so companies like AWS, which are cloud service providers, they set up their own CDN, and all you have to do is to go to them and use their own CDN. Okay, because they have servers in different locations, customers can now be able to access your application using AWS servers. I hope this is making sense. So it helps to reduce the cost for you. Do you understand? And because of the CDN, it reduces the distance between you and the closest server. Hence, the speed is going to be higher. Okay, the speed to deliver the information will be high. I hope that makes sense. Regulation, I've explained it as regards data compliance. Okay, not every organization or every nation allows data to transfer from one country to another country. Now, friends, this is one of the reasons why some people don't get remote jobs. Did you hear what I just said? This is one of the reasons why companies don't offer remote jobs. Why? Because you might be very, very skillful with so many knowledge, right? So many skills. You can solve so many problems, right? But the reason why some of these people cannot employ you because they don't have the financial capacity. Because if they have the financial capacity, they'll just tell you, you know what, we're going to pay for your relocation, and then they'll relocate you, and you will come to their nation, and you'll be able to do the job. But if they say you should work remotely, there are laws, the laws of there's what we call data compliance laws. Okay, there's what we call GDPR, and the rest. There are a lot of compliance um policies in cybersecurity. I will explain some of those things, right? So there's a lot of rules and compliance whereby you don't transfer data. Data that is meant for the US should not be transferred to another country. Do you understand? Aha. So I will check what you wrote later, Mr. Ashraf. So that's the concept I'm trying to paint here. Do you understand? So sometimes they will not be because you are working in Nigeria, for instance, right? They don't want to give you sensitive information that will be very disastrous or detrimental to the US nation. You understand? So because of that, there's data laws and compliance and restrictions that organizations must uphold. And whenever you are building your application, your architecture, you must, when auditors come to audit it, okay, they need to make sure that your IT architecture is compliant. Okay, is compliant. So I don't want to delve into some of those things, but this is one of the things. So CDN supports compliance, okay? Security. It helps to secure the server. So if anything is going to happen, right, rather than this one go down, this one will go down. You understand? So you can't, the information is very, very secure, okay? Secure before you can anything impact the original server. There are different things, and there are other things we can use to secure the architecture. And not just that, these servers, which we call the origin, this is the server that is providing the information. We call it the origin. Do you understand? The origin source. So it also supports HTTPS. I showed you all. I showed you all, right? Do you remember? If you come here, what was that I did? Let me see. No, let me see. Did I show you guys something? Yeah. So this is what I did now. I showed you this CloudFront. And if you check here, you can see HTTPS. So the protocol is secure. Okay. The connection is secure. So any data I'm transferring, this is secure. Do you understand that? So that's one of the things I am talking about. Do you understand? So security is there. Then updates. So anytime you want to perform updates, you can easily test those updates before you release it to the edge locations. Do you understand? You can test it before you release it to the edge locations. So if the TTL, there's something we call TTL. If the TTL has not expired, the users can still be able to see the old content while you test the old information and update it after the TTL. Okay, TTL means time to leave, which is more or less like saying before it expires. I explained that in the last class, but I will explain it again when we get to the hands-on practical. Okay, so now then we have compression. So you can choose to compress the information. You can choose to compress the information and just send them a little data here. So the way it works is this. So imagine that you have a website here, right? And instead of anytime you type www.netflix.com, okay, instead of this guy going here, the very first time, very first time, okay, for the very first time, this computer will connect to this, okay? So this computer will connect to this, okay? So then this CDN is going to transfer the information to this place, okay? So after it connects it here, the second time, anytime you try again to want to connect to the same website, it will be going through the CDN. Do you understand? It will be going through the CDN. So that website is cached or stored. The memory is stored here. Okay. It's just like saying, okay, let me put it this way. Imagine somebody used to come to your compound to come and borrow a fetcher. Some of you, if you know, in some native community, right, there's what we call regia, or there's what we call well, where people fetch water, okay? Borehole, where people fetch water, right? So imagine that you have a neighbor that's always coming to collect the the fetcher. So you use and fetch water. You understand? So instead of coming to your house, right, every morning, early in the morning to come and knock on your door, Ashraf, Ashraf, can you give me the fetcher? I want to fetch water so I can go to work. You now decided that you are going to keep it in front of your door, or you are going to keep it. You now decided to go somewhere that you know is close to his house and drop the fetcher there. Do you understand? So that instead of him traveling to this place to come and disturb you, right? He should always be checking here to get the information. Do you understand? That's the concept of this CDN, content delivery network. Okay? Please, does this make sense to everybody? This analogy, does it make sense? If it makes sense, please type yes in the comment section. Yes, yes, yes. Does it make sense? Please let me know, friends. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I just explained to you all is CDN. So, AWS, I told you that AWS, big companies, billionaires are usually looking for problems that people have, and then they will see how they can create something to manage that problem. You understand? So they know you don't have money to do this thing on a large scale. So they'll use their wealth to go and buy something and tell you, okay, instead of stressing yourself, come. Because not everybody has the money to go and build servers all around the world, data centers all around the world. Okay? Just because you want to see you want people to see your resume, you host on S3 buckets, right? You don't have to go and start building servers everywhere. No. So AWS said, you know what? We have a CDN service, okay? And it's called CloudFront. That's the name. So AWS CDN service is called what? CloudFront. Okay, so they said, come and talk to us. If you can sign up or register with this CloudFront, right, you will be able to configure a CDN, and your customers can quickly and easily access your website faster. Do you understand? That is exactly what I'm talking about. So CloudFront is AWS CDN service. Okay, now how does AWS achieve this? AWS achieve this using their data, their edge locations, or what we call points of presence. okay? And so if you come here and type AWS Cloudfront, okay, you're going to see this, and you click on this, it's going to show you this page, okay? So these are the benefits I've told you, okay? These are all these things here is part of the things I've explained to you. Do you understand? Different kinds of things, okay? So now, but I want to show you something so that you can see the architecture. So you can read this up if you want to understand more, okay? So, but let me click on features. So now if you watch this, can you see what we have here? Did you see different? So this is how it looks like. This is all the edge location, their servers they have in what North America. If you click on Africa, for instance, did you see? Oh my God, so sorry, please. So sorry. So if you click on Africa, right, you will notice that they have one here, they have one here, they have one here, they have one here, they have another one here. Can you see? So they have like 5. You understand? 5. So there's edge locations, there's embedded POP, which is called points of presence. You understand? Then there's what we call regional edge caches. You understand? So it's just a cache memory. So I don't want to confuse you with regional edge caches and edge caches. For now, just understand the little explanation I'm giving you so that I don't overwhelm you with too much technical things. Okay. So if you are in Africa, AWS has 5 cache locations that you can quickly respond to your information. Please, I hope that this makes sense to everybody. Okay, so if I click on this, this is one in Nigeria, this is one in Egypt, this is one in South Africa, this is one in Kenya. Okay, please, I hope this makes sense to everybody. So let me show you something else. Not necessarily, it's a cache, but not necessarily an elastic cache. In terms, so this one is more of a network delivery content in terms of network, okay? But the elastic cache you're talking about is in terms of what do we call it? In terms of system, okay? It's a system-based kind of memory what is it called? Memory delivery kind of thing, okay? From one server to another server, okay? Internally within the system, okay? From what I saw, the question somebody asked, okay? Cloudflare, okay, I wanted to show you something. Where is the, so these are the 2 popular types of CDNs we have, AWS Cloudfront and Cloudflare. Cloudflare, okay? So Cloudflare is one of the popular ones we have out there, okay? So if you notice that whenever you sign up to, if you bought a domain with Cloudflare, you know that they are going to give you, it comes with a CDN. I don't know if it comes free, but anyway, I told you in the last class, if you want to get a domain, you can get it from Cloudflare as well. Do you understand? But these are the 2 popular big boys in terms of CDNs. Do you understand? Uh-huh. So, but there was something I wanted to show you. Cloudflare map. There's a map for it. Okay, key features. I think it should be this. Amazon CloudFront key features. Yeah. They've actually changed it. This is not how it used to look back in the day. Okay. Well, it's okay, Sha. So since we've seen this, let's get on to the practical thing so that we can save time and learn a lot for today. Okay. So now, I'll still come back to explain some certain things. So friends, please give me your rapt attention right now. So this is what I want to do, right? If you remember what we did in previous classes, right? In previous classes, whereby we just set up something on S3, okay? So if you remember this illustration, so this is the server. So we call this the origin. So the origin can be on EC2 instance. That can be where your data is stored, okay? The data can be in S3, the data can be in EC2, the data can be in an AWS API gateway, okay? Now, you might not know that, don't worry. We're going to discuss that in the intermediate class. So, but just know that this can be different things. So popular ones is usually EC2 instance or S3. Okay, so I'm going to use the simple one now so that we can understand it. And then maybe in the next class, we'll touch on EC2. Okay, so maybe I might use the WordPress. I wanted to do WordPress, but I'm looking at the time now because I need to explain some things. We might not touch it. So, but see what I want to do. I will just set up a beautiful S3 account, okay, and set up something there. And if it's working, then I will connect it to CDN. So let's do it together. So I'm going to come here and go to S3. So this is Amazon S3, right? Good. Now, friends, I'm going to click on create bucket. Okay. And when I create buckets, I'm going to give it a name. Okay. Normally, in real world, what we do, we don't just give it any name. Okay. We usually give it the name of our domain. Okay. cloudsecurity.demosite.co.uk. Okay. But just for this example, I will just use a random name. Okay. So I will come here and say CloudFront demo bucket. You see that? And 2027. This is just to use a unique name. Then I'll scroll down. So I won't touch anything. I'll leave everything the way it is. I won't tamper anything. So remember, this is blocked. I won't tamper anything. So in the real world, I can enable versioning, okay? Because of whatever I'm putting inside. But because of this demo, I'll just keep everything and just click on create buckets. See, I've created a bucket, very simple bucket, very simple word, bucket. Now, if you open this bucket, is there anything inside, friends? The answer is no. Okay. Now, from what you have learned in previous classes, you can upload something here, and you can even configure whatever you put here to become a static website by going to where properties and scrolling to the bottom. You all remember, right? To enable static website hosting. So what if I say, no, I don't want to do all those things. I just want the information, my data to be stored in an S3 bucket. That's all. And the only way you can access this S3 bucket is through CloudFront. In other words, if my data is stored here, the only way you can access it is to come through the CDN. Do you understand? So now, how do I do that? Let's put something inside here first of all. Okay, so I'm just going to upload a simple data, or I have a data here. I have here. So I'm just going to come here and say, hello, cloud engineers. I am loading from a CDN URL or CDN server. Okay, so this is what I have here. So this is a simple index.html page. Okay, I hope you're not confused. This is the file here. Okay, so if I right click this and let me see. So let's right click this. No. I hope I have not done something. Okay, let me see. Okay, so day 16, this is the index.html. Okay, I just created a file inside this folder. Okay, now, inside that folder, inside this file, I just put a simple thing. From previous classes, I'm sure you all know what to do. You can go and get any HTML text templates from anywhere. You can even go to the Start Bootstrap I taught you, or from HTML, CSS. I'm sure you all know how this works. Is it not true? But right now, I don't want to do all that. Okay, I just want to make it very simple. So I don't want to do all that, okay? I just want to use a simple HTML, okay? Simple HTML that says this, okay? So I'm going to upload this page, all right? So how do I do it? So remember, we're doing it where? On our S3. So I'm going to click on upload. I've clicked on upload and I'll click on add files. And then this is the index.html. I'll click on it and click on open. Does that make sense? Can you see this is the file? Okay, I'll scroll and I'll click what? Upload. So it's uploading it. Good. So if I click on this, this is the destination, right? This is the bucket name. So if you copy this, remember I've not closed this. If you come here and paste this, right, it will not show you anything. You don't have access to do anything. You don't have access to be able to do anything in the first place. Okay. Now, I don't want it to access KID. No, I don't want to do any of those things. You understand? So it's trying to use the S3 protocol, but I don't want, you will not be able to access it that way. So if I come here and click on close, you're going to see the file here. And you will agree with me that when you click on this file, or if you select this and click on open, this is what you will see. Is it not true? And this is working because it is you. Can you see the URL? See what is in the address bar. Can you see the address bar? You know it's not meaningful to give a customer this thing, right? It's not meaningful. So this is only loading because I'm the one testing it. Okay? So if I share this link to you, it will not work. So because I selected it here and click on open and it worked does not mean that it's the best way. Do you understand? So you all know the normal way to make it to work. Several ways I can do it. I can click here and scroll down and say, now, because I disabled this public ACL when I was creating it, I can't do it here. You all know that if I click on permissions and then I open this public access, if I turn off this public access and put a bucket policy, I will be able to see it. That's the best way. But following the practice that what I'm doing right now, I just want an S3 bucket to act like my server and there's data inside. Nobody will be able to access it except through CDN. And that's what I want to do. So I have created everything and it's inside here. Okay. So can we go and create the CloudFront? So if you click on CloudFront, or if you come here and just type CloudFront, front, and click on it, it's going to take you to this page. Now, this is showing you this because I have one active. Do you understand? One of my DevOps students. Okay, we are using this now. But supposing if you click on this, this is what you're going to. It's going to show you. Okay. Now, but right now, I want to create a new one. So you're going to see the normal dashboard. Okay. So I can delete this, but right now you don't just delete it. You have to first of all disable it and then delete it. Okay. So if you select this now, you see delete is not active. You have to disable it first before deleting it. So, but I don't want to do this. So I want to create my own distribution. Okay. So to create my own distribution, I will click on this. Okay. Now we are creating our own CDN, which is CloudFront distribution. Okay. So now it's asking me for the origin domain. So do you remember I told you that it calls this guy is called the origin. So where do you want from my explanation, the origin is S3. Is it not true? So if you come here and click here, you're going to see there's Amazon S3, there's Elastic Load Balancer, API Gateway, different kinds of things can be your what is it called? Your origin domain. But for this our example, I'm using an S3. Is it not true? So I will now come here and choose, this is the name of the bucket I created. So if you did not create an S3 bucket, you will not see this. Okay. So because of the example I'm doing, I have created this before. That's what we did. Okay. If you come here, you see it. So I'll choose this. Okay. So that's my origin domain. Did you notice it populated this by default? I wasn't the one who added this. Okay. Now it's telling you to put the origin part. Do you understand? So what does this origin part means? Remember, this is optional. Okay. It means that if I want to, in this bucket, you can, if where you want it to be the origin is inside a folder, you can put something like slash and then put the name of the folder. In other words, if this index.html is inside a folder, okay, you have to put slash folder slash index.html. Do you understand? Sorry, not index slash, then the name of the folder. Okay. But I'm going to leave it by default. Okay. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'll scroll down, say origin access, public. Bucket must allow public access. So this one simply means that this is a default setting. I didn't touch it. Okay. But you notice that AWS is recommending this one. You understand? So it says buckets can restrict access to only CloudFront. So it means that if I choose this first one, meaning public, it means that anybody that has access, the URL to the bucket, the person can see whatever is inside the S3 bucket. But I say no, I don't want anybody to just have access to the S3 bucket. I only want people to go through the CloudFront before they go through the bucket for security reasons. So that's why I'm choosing this one. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So among these three, this is the one I'm choosing. I hope it makes sense. Now, the next thing we have is this. AWS introduced a security measure, just like IAM and the rest of them. Okay, so to enforce this thing, to say that only CloudFront can access it, you need to choose something that looks like an IAM. Okay, so you can put the name of the origin access control. I have one here, which is the old one, but I don't want to use this one. So you can always come here and say, create a new one. Okay, even if you see this blank in your own, after you've chosen this, please click on create new this. Don't touch anything. You can put a description if you want to. You understand? And then you can click on create, right? And then it will create one for you here. Did you see that? So because of this thing we did, so you may be wondering what exactly happened. Remember that when I created this bucket, I didn't put any policy or any permission, which means nobody can access this bucket. Is it not true? So, but what this CloudFront is doing is this. It's trying to say that only CloudFront can access the S3. So it's trying to create a policy for you, right, that will allow CloudFront to be able to access the S3 bucket. So it has created it for you. Okay, so later you're going to notice that it will tell me to copy the policy somewhere. It has written it for me just because of this thing I did. So when we get there, I'm going to show you. Okay, so just take note of this. Good. Now, I can explain everything here, but for sake, because of time, right, and I don't want to make this boring, let's just get it out first. Then I can explain further. So this is another feature, Origin Shield. So an Origin Shield is like a security feature, okay, whereby instead of all these guys, this small cache servers, okay, these edge location servers, instead of them connecting directly to the origin, okay, you can set up something called the Origin Shield, like a WAF, a protector that will be protecting this guy. So all the servers will be connecting to the Origin Shield, and the Origin Shield will connect to this one. That's what this is all about. Origin Shield is an additional caching layer that can help reduce the load on your origin and help protect its availability. Please let's mute ourselves. Okay. Can we mute ourselves? Okay, let me see. I'm not sure you're aware. Okay. So now I'm going to leave it the way it is, but I'm just explaining it so that you all understand. Okay. So for caching behavior, I won't touch any of these things. And I told you that it can compress objects. Is it not true? So everything, I'll leave it the way it is by default. So this is viewer protocol policy. it's going to support HTTP and HTTPS? Or do you want, if customers type HTTP, it should redirect them to HTTPS by force? You can choose this one. But if you choose this one, it means it will support both HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, so if you choose this one, it means if the person type HTTP, it will not work. Just like this one I tested here that is working. If you click here, you will notice there's HTTPS here. You see that? Now, if I choose HTTP only and I remove this S and hit enter, it won't work. But this one is working because when I created it, I chose HTTP and HTTPS. I hope this makes sense to you. So these are other features that comes with it. Okay, I don't want this to be too overwhelming, so I'm just going to leave it. Okay, mostly is developers and other people that DevOps engineers now, not necessarily, but it's still a good thing. If you want to learn it further, you can always check. Either you use this Amazon AI tool to ask its question, okay, or you can use the documentation to learn how it works. Okay, so this Amazon Q is like a question and answer. So you can ask it and it will tell you more about these guys. Okay, so, but let's just reduce this so that I don't overwhelm you all with different information. So I'll leave everything the way it is. I'm not going to touch anything. Everything, I'll leave it the way it is. But in this section where it calls you WAF, okay, you need extra security to protect your servers, okay, like a firewall, okay, an extra shield to protect the servers in terms of DDoS attack and the rest of them, okay. Because of time, I cannot touch this, so I'll just click on do not enable security protection. I don't want it, okay. I can if I want it, but I'll just keep it very simple. Good. Now, the next thing we have here is, so the pricing, because it's not, as much as this thing looks so sweet and beautiful, it has price. Do you understand? It has price attached to it, especially when you're practicing. So AWS is saying if you want to use all their edge locations, you want to use all their edge locations that they have, right? For best performance, choose this one. But if you say, nah, my customers is only in North America and Europe, choose this one. But if you say, no, my customer is here, and Africa, choose this one. Your choice. So the class you choose will determine the price. And you can always click on this info to get more details about that. Okay, so I'll leave it the way it is. All right. Now there's something we call CNAME. CNAME. In terms of you want an alternative domain. You notice this, friends. You notice that this is not looking interesting. This URL is not looking very interesting. Okay, because the one we are going to create will look something like this. Okay, so if you don't want that, you can add an alternative domain name. Do you understand? An alternative domain name. So when I taught you about Route 53, I told you there's something called CNAME record. There's A record, there's CNAME record, there's quadruple A record, A, different types of records. Now, but again, these are too many information. Let's just keep it very simple. So I won't touch anything here, okay? SSL, I won't touch anything. I'll just leave everything the way it is. But before I click on this create distribution, watch this. This is very important because if you don't do it, even though they told you optional, it might get an error. So it's telling you the default root object. Which object do you want me to look for? Right? Which object do you want me to look for so that whenever they visit this URL, right, I'm going to load something. So you put the name of the object here. And in our S3 bucket, what we uploaded was index.html. Is it not true? If your own name is different, please make sure you type it here. I hope that makes sense to you. Good. So I'll just put this here. Okay. Notice I didn't put any slash. Okay. I just put the name of the object. Good. That is all. I don't want to do any login. I don't want to touch anything. I'll just click on create distribution. Good. So did you see what it says? Successfully created a new distribution. Do you remember I told you it's going to create a policy for me? So it has created the policy for me. So this policy is what will allow CloudFront, okay, to have access to the S3 bucket. So I'll click on copy policy. You see that? Then I'll go to my S3 bucket. So because I want the CloudFront to enter to be able to access this bucket, I'll click on permission. I'll scroll down. This is the bucket policy. I'll click on edit, and inside here, I'll paste that thing I just copied. I just copied something right now. If you're wondering, I clicked on this and it said policy statement copied. So if you paste it here, and if you remember what we taught you in IAM policies, you'll see that this is the SID, allow CloudFront service principal, allow. So this is the service. It's allowing CloudFront to have access. Is using the get object. This is the name of the S3. So anything inside that S3 bucket, you see that? That's what it's doing. So I'm sure this is simple enough. All you need to do is just click on save changes. That's all. So friends, come back to this place. So it's telling you that this has been created. Is it not true? But so you can close this here. You can close this here. Now, but if you scroll up, you're going to see that it shows you this. Now, but can you see this? Last modified. Can you see it's telling you deploying? In case you didn't see it and you decide to click on distributions, you're going to see these two things, two types of distributions. So the one I did right now is this one at the top. Okay. So did you notice that the last modified is deploying? So that it told you it has created it does not mean that it is ready. Okay. So now notice that this one has a date. This one does not have a date. So this one is still deploying. So if you refresh it, it's taking time. This takes between 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, between 5 to 10 minutes. It all depends also on the data. So what do you think this guy is doing? So this CloudFront right now is now doing something. So from this server, it's creating, so all the edge locations that AWS supports is trying to propagate all the data. It's trying to put the data across all of them. That's why it says it's deploying. It's deploying. So it's deploying it to all the edge location servers. Do you understand? Aha. So that's what is happening here. So you have to wait for some time and it will change from deploying to the time that you last did it. I hope this makes sense to everybody. So now if I click on this right now, I cannot delete it, like I said to you all. Okay. So, but you can disable it and then delete it. Well, let's wait. So what do? I'll click on this. Okay. So right now, this is the distribution domain name. Even though it is still deploying, you can always copy this and test it. So let me share it with you all so that you can try it. So I'm going to click here and paste this and share it with you all. Okay, so you can try the domain at your end. So while I also try to test it. So if I click this and I hit enter, can you see? It's working. Can you see? Hello, cloud engineers. I am loading from a CDN server. Did you see that? So friends, try it from your end. So let's check whether it's actually done. So refresh this. Let's see. Even though it's still telling me deploying. Interesting. So let's click on this. It's still telling me deploying, but it's already showing. Okay, it's done already. See the date. It has changed. It's no longer showing deploying. Can you see? If I click on this, it's showing me last modified. This. Did you see that? So this is our CloudFront URL. So you can now send this CloudFront URL to anybody. They will be able to access you. So right now, I am utilizing AWS CDN servers in different regions, and this will be very, very fast. So whenever people try to access it, thank you so much. Anytime people try to access it, do you notice that as you reload this thing, it's very, very fast. As I'm reloading it, you're not seeing it's very, very fast. Let me show you guys how to check some things. So there's something we call what is it called? Check DNS, right? I hope it's check DNS. No, not check DNS. Let me come here. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Good. There's something called KeyCDN tools. Okay, KeyCDN.com. Okay, if you go to KeyCDN.com, you can do different kinds of things. You can check the speed of your website. You can check the performance of your website. Okay, so speed. So if I come here and paste my URL, okay, and you can choose different location. If I say London and click on test, so you can check and see what is happening. So let's see. Hold on. Okay, let me test with let me see something. For some reason. Okay, let me see. Let me use another one I'm used to. This is checkhost.ng. You can come here and paste the, if I click on HTTP, let's see what's going to happen. So it's loading. So can you see what's happening? Different locations. Did you see the time? 0.660 seconds in different regions. Can you see different regions? You understand? So, can you see it's closer to the US? Can you see the time it takes to display it? Do you understand? So this is how to test it. Please, I hope this makes sense to everybody. So let me see whether this does not need this. Let me test it and see. For some reason, maybe they've changed some things. I don't know if they've changed it, but okay. This is testing the performance. So should be able to give me some feedback. It's testing the performance of this, but there's nothing much now. You shouldn't waste time. Okay, so friends, this is how a CDN works. Content Delivery Network, right? This is how to serve customers, especially if you get a job as a cloud engineer to serve, to set up something that can serve customers in different region, different location. You know, all those important things I was talking about, especially as regards regulation, updates, and the rest of them. If you come here and go to where is it? So if you come here and come, so you see, this is what we've done so far. There's still other things here. So if you come to security, you can do some things here. If you come to origins, you can do some things here. Behaviors, error pages, invalidation for updates, different. So these are different kinds of configuration. But ladies and gentlemen, do you understand what we've done so far? Do you understand how CloudFront works? If you do, please type yes. The guy didn't load again after the first load. It's as if it's just there whenever I reload the page. Exactly. That's what we are saying, Ibrahim. That's exactly what I'm saying. So it's now serving you the information from the edge location. It's as if it's just giving you the page. You understand? So it will just be dropping the you so you it's as if not you will just be, oh my god, this thing is so fast. Yes, it's because it's giving you the information from the edge location. I hope that makes sense. So it is not reaching out to the S3 bucket again to go and fetch the information. So it's serving you from the closest edge location to you. Do you understand? Aha. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Any question? Any question? I really don't want today's session to be very, very too technical or confusing. Friends, please, this is what I want to say, okay? Even though you understood just 10% or 20%, or even though this sounds interesting, but just say relax, don't worry. It was not overnight I learned these things. Do you understand? It wasn't overnight. It's when you watch the video again and then you practice. Trust me, it will make sense. It will make sense. And as you continue to grow in in your career, you will begin to appreciate all the things I'm exposing you all to and showing you and making you understand them. Okay? So let me know if there's any questions. then we know what to do. Somebody said, okay, in this case of a movie that is streaming in Nigeria on Netflix and it's not available in other regions like Paris, how can it be solved? Can a cloud engineer be employed to fix this? So it's not really a problem per se. It's what they want, is what they set. For instance, now, let me show you. I'm sure you can see my screen, right? Do you know that if I come here and say behaviors, or no, let me see, where is that guy? Have they removed it? Hold on. Seems they've removed it. Okay, see it at the bottom here. CloudFront Geographic Restrictions. Did you see this? If I click here right now, scroll down, you see there's nothing here, right? If I click on edit, did you see no restrictions? Did you see block list? Did you see allow list? If I click on this block list now and under countries, I choose, let me look for Nigeria. And let's see if it's going to work for you. So, so, so this is Nigeria. So if I choose this now, did you see that? And I click on save changes, right? After a while, it's going to propagate this change. It will affect that change. You will not be able. So after the TTL, so there's something we call TTL, right? So maybe after 24 hours, right? Depending on the TTL we set. I did not even check that. Okay. After the TTL expires, which is usually 24 hours, okay? Once it expires, if you try to check it, especially you are from Nigeria, you will not be able to visit this website I just showed to you. So this block list is for countries you want to block. This allow list is for countries, only the countries you want to allow. I hope this will answer your question, Mr. Ashraf. So let me know. I hope that answers your question. Any other question? Any other question? Let me see. What's the difference between using S3 to host static websites and using CloudFront? So CloudFront is not hosting any website, you see? So it's just a content delivery. So it's just a service that helps you to say, okay, route this information, take this information to this place, take this information to this place. Okay. It's like, let me show you. So if you come here and type, I think I did that, sure, but let me say AWS Cloudfront. Let me see if I get a good diagram for this images. I'm trying to look for a good image that can depict what I want to do. So, okay, let me see. This is a very simple one, right? Now, if you can see this image, right, you will, let me right click it, copy the image and paste it for you all on the comment section. So you'll be able to see it. So if you watch here, you will see that the users would over the browser will be going through the internet, right? So they want to be able to access this S3 bucket. Okay. So what CloudFront does as an S3 service is to say, my job is to make sure that I satisfy these users, right? By one, I want to make sure that the speed or the distance between this user and the nearest location they can get this data, this website, okay? CloudFront is what is responsible. So CloudFront is a service that is like a distributor. You know all these distributing vans. If you see all those people that comes to distribute Coca-Cola, those truck, so where they manufacture the Coca-Cola or Pepsi or so in the brewing company, right? Then they have all these big trailers, right? That people just ride inside the trailers, and then they go from one depot to another depot, from one what is it called? From one store to another store. Okay, they drop it with the customer, they exchange money, they drop the Coca-Cola. Sometimes they even buy them, they give them free freezers, beautiful freezers, and stock the Coke there. It's looking so chilled and looking very fresh. They just stock everything. So the goal is not for just that woman. The goal is that you and I that loves drinking Coke, instead of trekking to go to their headquarters, to their brewing company to go and buy the chilled Coke, they hired some vans, a distributing van, okay, that will go to customers, big servers, closer to different customers. So instead of going to this guy, you can just walk into the closest store and you will still get the same data that you want to get here. You will get it from the closest store to you. So CDN is like a distributor. It is not a server. Even though I use the word server in my explanation, it is distributing it to those servers, which I call edge locations or points of presence. Do you understand? So you are not the one creating those point of presence or edge location like I showed you here. You're not the one creating these guys here. Okay? It's AWS that has already set up their what is it called? Their edge location. We saw some of them in Lagos, some of them in South Africa, and the rest of them. Is it not true? So the CDN is the one that takes it from here and distributes it to all the closest edge location so that you can be able to access it. Does that answer your question, please? This is in response to these questions that I saw here. Somebody asked a question that said, what's the difference between using S3 to host a static website and using CloudFront? So you see, CloudFront is not the one hosting it. Do you understand? I hope this answers your question. Also, can one be using CloudFront for hosting instead of EC2 every time? So also, is CloudFront free for a while? So I hope this answers your question, Mr. Abdusamad. Please let me know if it answers your question. Okay? Please let me know. So this is from my understanding, you still need an EC2 to act as your server, so your users can always connect. Okay, if you use the CDN, which will act as the cache server to reduce. So take note that the CDN is not a server in itself. The CDN is a distributor. Okay, it's a service that is distributing. It is a service that is distributing, or like a mechanism that is distributing. Remember, just always picture this van, this Coca-Cola van illustration I gave you. You understand? So I hope you understand. Please, I hope you get the picture. If you understand, please type yes on the comment section, just to be sure. Just to be sure you all understood. If you don't, ask question, okay? I'll try to clarify you much more. My friends are so quiet. Any question? Mr. Ernest, Mrs. Lydia, Mr. Enoch, Mrs. Deborah, okay, Mr. Raffard, Mr. Ike, Mr. Banjoko, QD, Obliveri, if I'm correct, Mr. Beeb, Mr. Abdul Rahman, Mr. Bale. So, any question from anybody? Any question from anybody? Is it confusing? Can you rate your understanding? Rate your understanding based on what we've done so far. From 0 through 10, can you rate your understanding? Even though I know you've not practiced it, but can you rate your understanding from 0 to 10 so far from what we've done? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you. Please, can I get 3 to 5 responses? Can you rate yourself? Just rate yourselves, just so that I will know that you understood what CloudFront is. Okay, it's not hosting anything. It's just, its job is just to connect and route. Okay, it distributes. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ashraf. Thank you, Mr. Ike. Thank you. QD said if I practice the skill to 10. Okay, guys, thank you so much, Mrs. Ifeyinwa. Thank you. Ifeyinwa. Oh, that's Ifeyinwa. It sounds combination of Yoruba and Igbo. Sounds Igbo in my ear, in my pronunciation. So, friends, that is CloudFront. Okay. So, in our next class, which is going to be Wednesday, I really pray. I actually would have canceled the class. So, friends, this is me announcing right now that on Friday there will not be any session. There won't be any what is it called? review or mentorship session or troubleshooting session. Okay. So I'm sure the last one we did was very, very helpful to some persons that participated. So I answered a lot of questions and gave illustrations. So why I will not be available this weekend is simply because of my the burial for my late grandmother will be happening this week. Okay. So honestly, I wouldn't have been available all throughout this week, but I really don't want to frustrate or make you all uncomfortable. And I don't want it to look like we are not as passionate as you all are. Okay. Even though I know some persons has stopped showing up, but at least even if there's only 2 persons here, the same energy, the same passion I'm using now is what I will use for them. Okay, so that's why I'm also trying to show up every day so that as much as you show up, I also match up and finish the sessions with you all. So Wednesday will be the last demonstration session we have with you all for this program. Okay, so please, I want you to practice and practice. So in the next class, some of you, if you remember, I told you about there's this project I told you for that community called Rex something. If you notice, it's as if we've done it, but maybe it's how to combine the Route 53 and the CloudFront, and then so the only thing you've not done now is just how to translate that instead of using that DNS name that CloudFront is giving you, you want to use your own domain name. Do you understand what it means? That's what we are going to be learning in the next class. So instead of using this, because if you watch here, this is CloudFront's DNS name. Okay. So what if I want to use my own? Okay, instead of this. Okay. So that is what I might likely show you in the next class. But we might also be doing that using what is it called? Using routes. What is it called? Using WordPress and then those Apache stuff. Some persons has been asking me, so let me just. So this is what I'm talking about. A lot of persons do projects like this. So the user will go through Route 53, and Route 53 will go through CloudFront, and CloudFront will go through AWS Certificate Manager, which is to check the certificate for the domain. Okay, I might explain this, but I'll tell you how it works. So once it connects to this, then it will connect to an S3 bucket. So this is the architecture for that project that you also. Okay, so I'm so glad that we're making great progress and we are learning a lot. So I think I said I was going to explain some things. Please, I think if I said I was going to explain it, please let me know. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions now. Other than that, I think this is where we're going to stop. So the questions we raised in the group, yes, please let me know so that I can address it. It says, same when a file is stored in S3, the file is redundantly copied into every availability zone in the region. Now, if availability zone goes down, truly we have to copy blah blah. Okay, blah, blah, good. Okay, now I get the picture. So the thing is this, right? I want you to understand that the replication rule, whenever you create an S3 bucket, right? Behind the scene, just like the shared responsibility model, right? AWS job is to make sure that your data is not lost. So even though they don't tell you, AWS actually will create multiple copies for you, but they won't show it to you. Do you understand? So when we created these S3 buckets that you can see here, okay? You see these buckets that we created here. AWS has copies of it in other regions. Okay, they just have copies of it. Okay, now even though I am not aware, and you know that is possible because of the storage class. If you remember the storage class matters a lot. I explained all those things to you. Okay, if you're creating something, a bucket, and you're putting something inside, you're going to see the storage class. Okay, now even though AWS helps you, right, to create all those what is it called? Those copies for you, you will not have access to the one AWS created. So if you delete your bucket, it's gone. Automatically, AWS will delete the one behind the scene. The only way AWS provides that one for you is if you did not delete it by yourself, but a disaster happens to one of AWS server. If there is a disaster from their own end, it is their job to make sure that they provide your data using a replica they have in another region. I hope that's making sense to you. But if you want to create a replica by yourself that you have access to, then you will now have to create those using that replication rule. I don't know if this makes sense to you, Ashraf. That is how it works. Okay? So that's just exactly the difference. So you don't have access to the one they created, except you are the one that specified it, then you have access to it. Okay, on behalf of Mr. Victor, you mentioned on the 14-day using of Apache server. Are we still getting? Yes, I told him yes. So that's actually what I talked about. So we will put all those things together in the last class. It looks like I'm pushing this WordPress so much. So we'll touch it in the last class, which is going to be Wednesday. Okay, so we'll just set it up and then put a URL, put it in front of a cloud WordPress, and yeah. So the question about does DNS resolution happens at the server side or client side? Okay, yeah. I think I remember this question. So it's remember when we say client side and when we say server side, the client side is you, right? You. So if I from my end I type www.youtube.com and I hit enter, am I doing any DNS resolution? The answer is no. I am not doing it. Okay, even though, right, the it can get the DNS resolution or translation from the cache file it has on my browser or from my etc/host file. It does not mean that the resolution happened there. Do you understand? You're welcome. So the resolution is happening from either any of those top level domains. If you remember what we covered in the previous classes. So all those name servers, okay, either from the ISP or from the root.com or from the top level domain or from Route 53 name servers. You understand? Those are the places where the translation happens. So it's just that a copy of that resolution is stored in a cache file and maybe stored in your ISP and then stored in your browser. So the next time you try to visit a website, it doesn't have to check again. It will just show you. So the resolution is not happening on the client side. It can be argued that it happens on the client and on the server. But when we even say server, it is not like it is the server that you are trying to reach out to. It's not the server. Okay. I hope you understand. It's not the server that you are trying to reach out to. So if I'm trying to type www.facebook.com, it's not Facebook server that is translating it, that is doing the resolution. Don't forget that. It's not Facebook server that is doing the resolution. It is the responsibility of my ISP. Okay? So my ISP will be the one to go out there checking different phone books to say who is facebook.com. It will be asking different servers. Do you understand? Different name servers or top level domains, asking them. So once it finds who facebook.com is, then it will now send me the IP. I will be the one to now go and contact facebook.com server with the IP provided to me. I hope this makes sense and this gives you the clarity you need. Okay? All right. Friends, I think we've done well today. Okay? You're welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Cutie. So thank you so much for joining today's session. I really appreciate you all. And so apologies if any of you sent a message to Mrs. Vivian. She's currently not available. Okay? Since last weekend, she has not been available. So hopefully from tomorrow on next, she might be available. That's why you've not had any interaction from her. Okay. So thank you so much, friends. Please watch the video again and watch the video again and again. And if you have questions at any time you watch this recording, please reach out to me if you get confused or you get stuck, okay, for clarity. And yeah, you can also share it with somebody to learn. And please sign up for our intermediate session. All right. So friends, see you all next week. I'll see you next tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Okay, for our last demonstration session. And expect the project coming from next week. Okay. Thank you so much. And please do have a good night rest. So I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll stop the recording.